welcome back to another video. So in today's video we are going to be ranking every Premier League club's highest earner. So we are going to look at every club and we're going to go through who their highest paid player is, and I'm going to tell you if I think they are underpaid, overpaid, or fairly paid. So, of course, this is just estimates of their wages. Some of these could potentially be wrong and other players could be. It's hard to find all of the correct information, but I'm trying my best, and I believe that these are all the highest paid players and their wages are correct. But anyway, hopefully you guys do enjoy, and let's begin. So we start off with Arsenal and Martin Odegaard. So with Arsenal's young core rapidly developing, the club has been proactive in rewarding the players' improved terms. Unlike when Mesut Ozil and Aubameyang earned significantly above the rest of the squad though, Arsenal have sought to create a sense of parity among their top earners. In the last calendar year they have tied down Aaron Ramsdale, Gabriel, William Saliba, Bukayo Saka and Martinelli to long-term contracts. The latest was Martin Odegaard, who is believed to now be the highest earner, beating new signing Kai Havertz, who's apparently on 280k a week by the way, which is mental. But anyway, Odegaard is on around 300k a week, which is a lot, but considering he's the club captain, one of their best and most important players, I would say this is a fair wage, as he is one of their best players and one of the best players in the league in general, so he deserves to be on a very high wage. It's a fairly rated for Odegaard. Aston Villa, we have Boubacar Kamara. Even though Aston Villa's overall wage bill has risen sharply in recent years, the club remain mindful and it has not been stretched out of proportion. Abiding with FFP regulations was a theme of the summer, as was finding a suitor for Philip Coutinho, who was the previous top earner. Now Boubacar Kamara is the highest earner at the club with a wage of £150,000 a week, due to being a free transfer and gaining lucrative signing on fees and salaries. For me, this is another fairly rated wage. Kamara is one of the best players at Villa, maybe not the best. Diaby for me is the best, but still, he's great and one of the better DMs in the Prem. 150k a week isn't a crazy amount, and he's young, so I would say Kamara is fairly paid, especially considering he came on a free. He could have been on something absolutely crazy, but 150k is not too bad. Bournemouth, we have Justin Kluivert. So Bournemouth's wage bill has risen sharply this year, backed by additional funds from owner Bill Foley. The American has helped transform the squad, bringing in players such as high earners Tyler Adams and Lewis Sinistella, while also giving lucrative new contract to Dominic Solanke, Neto and Philip Billing. But the player on the highest is Justin Kluivert. Naturally, due to his name and reputation, he needed a big wage to join the club. He's on around 80k a week. Now for me, this isn't awful, but I do think that considering he hasn't really done much in his career, he is slightly overpaid. I think he could come good at Bournemouth, but let's be real, if his name wasn't Kluivert, I don't think he gets that wage, so I think Kluivert is slightly overpaid. Brentford, we have Ben Mee. Brentford finished 9th in the top flight last season and only missed out on qualifying for Europe by a couple of points. When you realise they have one of the lowest lowest wage bills in the league, it makes their achievement look even more impressive. Club captain Pontus Jansson was the best paid player on around 60k a week until he returned to Malmo in the summer. A number of senior players, including Brian Mbeumo and Mathias Jensen, have signed new contracts in the past couple of years, which put them at the top with the highest earner, Ben Mee. Ben Mee is another who benefited from coming on a free transfer, as our money was used for his wage of around 55k a week. Now 55k isn't actually a lot of money, to be honest, but does Ben Mee deserve to be on that much compared to other Brentford players? I'm not sure. I think Ben Mee is great for them and has been amazing since joining, but I do think compared to his teammates, he is slightly overpaid, as others such as Brian Mbeumo and Ivan Toney are more important to that side. Brighton, Ansu Fati. By far the biggest earner at Brighton this season is loan signing Ansu Fati. They are paying 80% of a 20-year-old Barcelona forward's weekly wage of 160k. The contribution of 128k a week to Fati's salary is a lot more than the top earners among the permanent members of the squad. Brighton actually had the second lowest wage bill in the Prem last season, above only Brentford. Now this is kind of hard as Fati has just joined and is a lone player, but I would say, even though this is a lot of money for Brighton, 128k a week for a player like Fati, who has the ability to become a superstar, is fair. Let's not forget Fati was given a number 10 after Messi left Barca, and when fit he is sensational. If Fati can stay fit and rediscover that form, Brighton will have a great player, and I think 128k a week is a fair wage contribution for a potential elite winger. Burnley, Josh Brownhill. Burnley's wage bill has changed significantly in recent seasons. After relegation to the Championship, a number of the club's high earners, including Ben Mee, Nick Pope and James Tarkowski, departed. It's slashed the wage bill ahead of the Championship season, but now they are back in the Prem, it has increased. Those who remain from the pre-company era make up a significant portion of the highest earners at the club. Striker Wout Weghorst, who is on loan at Hoffenheim, Charlie Taylor and Jack Cork are towards the top of the list. And top of the list is a player who came down with them in Josh Brownhill on 45k per week. This is a fair wage for me when you consider Brownhill was one of Burnley's best players last season and vital for them winning promotion at the first time of asking, so 45k a week, which isn't actually a lot, is a pretty fair wage. Chelsea, Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling has the dubious honour of succeeding Romelu Lukaku, who is now on loan at Roma as Chelsea's highest paid player. The England international was the first signing made by the Toppoli consortium and is very much an exception to the norm. His salary is in excess of 300k a week and does not include a percentage pay cut for Chelsea's failure to qualify for the Champions League. Sterling is comfortably the biggest earner, with a number of those on significant money sold or let go in the summer. All of the new arrivals from the last three windows are on much lower sums as Chelsea look to get the wage bill under control. And while based on what he's done in a Chelsea shirt as of now, Sterling, you have to say, is overpaid. 300k a week makes him one of the highest earners in the Prem, so you would expect elite level performances, and while we've seen glimpses early on this season, he's been nowhere near that level in a Chelsea's shirt so far. I do think him being highest earner, given his reputation and experience, isn't bad, but 300k a week is way too much. I would say he needs to be more on the 200 to 250 range. Crystal Palace, we have Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson, Palace's major signing of the summer, arrived from Man United, so it may not be a surprise that he is now their highest earner. He had been earning over 100k a week before he moved to Palace for an initial 15 million, which could rise to 20. Now Palace have pursued a more sustainable strategy over the past 2 seasons, turning to younger talent on lower wages. As for Henderson, I have to say though, he is overpaid. Henderson, I understand why he's on that much due to coming from United, as I said, but considering they have Sam Johnston, who's actually started the season as number 1, 100k a week for a backup goalkeeper right now, who is injury prone, in fact he's already injured, is not great. So for me, Henderson is overpaid. Everton, Jordan Pickford. Under Fahad Mashiri, Everton have regularly handed players contracts they simply would not get elsewhere. At its peak, the club's wage bill was the largest outside the Premier League's Big Six, with even fringe players receiving sums of around 100k a week. The past few years have seen attempts to reduce that wage bill. Inroads have been made by current director of football Kevin Farewell, but there is an acceptance that there is still a way to go before the problems are solved. Goalkeeper Jordan Pickford's new deal makes far more sense. A key figure in recent season for England's number 1 salary of 125k appears far better value for money. This is a fairly paid wage as he is their best player, one of the better keepers in the league, and 125k, that's not a huge wage but it's pretty decent, so fairly paid. Fulham. Now Alexander Mitrovic, Fulham is Joao Palhinha. Now Alexander Mitrovic was Fulham's highest paid player on a salary in excess of 100k a week, but his departure for Saudi Arabia meant he had to relinquish that title, and his successor is now thought to be Joao Palhinha. He was rewarded for his excellent form last season and missing out on a deadline day move to Bayern Munich by agreeing to new terms earlier this month. His new contract is a 5-year agreement and he's on around 80 to 100k a week. And even though he's just got an increase, I actually still think he's underpaid. Palhinha is one of the best DMs in the league and wanted by Bayern Munich, one of the best teams in the world. He's by far and away Fulham's best player, and I think he should be on at least 150k a week easily. Liverpool, Mo Salah. Mohamed Salah became the highest paid player in Liverpool's history in the summer of 2022 when he signed a 3-year contract worth an excess of 350k a week. It brought to an end a long-running saga over his future, but Salah's preference was always to stay at Anfield, and he has proved to be worth every penny. He has scored 30 goals in all competitions in 22-23 and already has 4 to his name this season. At the age of 31, he remains at the peak of his powers, and that's why Liverpool fought so hard to keep him this summer. It's a fairly paid wage for Salah, as he deserves that big contract. I can't call him underpaid, as 350k is a lot, but he deserves that money. Luton Town, Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley wages have dropped significantly from his 4.5 years at Chelsea, but he is still Luton's biggest earner. His arrival on a free transfer after his release by Nice was an unexpected signing from the club's usual recruitment policy. He's on around 35k a week, which still isn't much, but I don't even think Barkley is their best player, and a Prem player, even at this point in his career. I think 35k a week is a fair wage for Barkley, but he shouldn't be their highest earner. Someone like Carlton Morris really should be on that money. Now I do understand why he's given that money due to his reputation, but I still think he's overpaid, and other Luton players should be on higher than him. Manchester City is Erling Haaland. Now Erling Haaland is of course Man City's highest earner, with estimations varying from he earns just a bit more than Kevin De Bruyne up to around 900k a week. De Bruyne earns around 400k per week, and he had to fight for that using data compiled by experts to spell his value to the club. Now Haaland's standing in world football spoke for itself when he agreed to join City last year, and given the amount of goals he has scored since the move, he can say that it's been worth the outlay. Now to be honest, whatever he's on, even if he's on 900k a week, That's a fair wage given he has come in and broke all the goal scoring records and won Man City the treble. I'm not going to say he's underpaid as he's going to be on big wages, but he's not overpaid due to his value to the team, so he's a fairly paid player. Man United, Casemiro. Man United's eye-watering £385 million wage bill for the 21-22 season set a Premier League record, but fortunately it has since been slashed after the departures of two big earners, those being Cristiano Ronaldo and David De Gea. And that has left Casemiro as the highest player in the Old Trafford dressing room. The five-time Champions League winner became one of United's top earners upon his arrival, with his pay packet in a similar ballpark to De Gea's, and United could be satisfied that they were getting their money's worth last season, as he was widely hailed as a transformative presence. But now, 31 years old, he has struggled to hit the same heights at the start of a new campaign, and he has 3 years to run and is on 350k a week. Time will tell whether Casemiro's deal becomes another big contract for United, where they seek to free themselves from. I do think he is slightly overpaid on 350k, because that is a lot for a DM in general. I think even for Rodri that's quite a little bit, and Casemiro has been good but not sensational for United, so I think he should be on more of a 250 to 280 range, so I think he's slightly overpaid. Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes. Now Newcastle have been careful while upgrading their squad to ensure that any new arrivals do not break planned wage structures. This means that when players such as Alexander Isak and Sandro Tonali arrived, their salaries did not totally eclipse existing players such as Bruno Guimaraes. The Brazilian is set to sign a new deal which is expected to make him by far the highest paid player at the club once again, expected to be more than 180k per week. But his current deal is 120k, and I think this is underpaid. But when he signs his new 180k deal, that's for sure a much more fairly rated deal, given his importance to the Newcastle side. Nottingham Forest, Chris Wood. Another busy summer of recruitment. We've seen Nottingham Forest add to their wage bill with the capture of a number of high earners. Chris Wood, who arrived last January, is understood to be earning in the region of 90k a week and was the top earner in the squad. Ibrahim Sangare is believed to be in a similar ballpark, but it is unclear whether he has eclipsed the New Zealand man. Similarly, Divock Origi, who joined on loan, is reportedly on a contract worth 120k per week in Italy, but I'm not sure how much of that wage Forest are actually paying. So I'm just going to stick with Chris Wood, who is definitely overpaid. He's a useful player for them, but shouldn't be on that kind of wage, especially considering he's not even a regular starter for the side. Sheffield United, Ryan Brewster. A year ago, the highest earner was undoubtedly Sander Berge, United's record transfer. The Norwegian is understood to have come in at about 50k per week. His departure, however, has muddied the waters, with several players now believed to be earning a similar amount at the top of the wage scale. John Egan is among those, along with summer additions Cameron Archer and Vinny Sousa. But I believe the highest earner is still Ryan Brewster on 35k per week. And that's another overpayment. Brewster scored 7 goals in 3 seasons for Sheffield and done absolutely nothing in a United shirt. So he shouldn't be anywhere near their top earners, and to be honest, that's probably one of the reasons he's still at Sheffield, as no Championship side can afford to take that big of a wage. Tottenham Hotspur, Heung-min Son. Following Harry Kane's departure this summer, Tottenham's captain and leading scorer Son is the club's highest earner, picking up around 200k a week. After Son, the next highest earner is actually Ivan Perisic on 180k per week. Now Son is a weird one, though, because Son has started the season very well, and if he goes back to prime Son, where he won the Golden Boot and was insane, 200k a week is probably an underpayment. But it's still early days under Ange, and he was very poor last season. However, considering people like Sterling are on 300k plus, has to be higher, as he's proven himself a lot more and is now club captain, so I think he should be in the 250 to 300k range, making him slightly underpaid. West Ham United, Lucas Paquetá. Lucas Paquetá is West Ham United's highest earner, earning the region of 150k a week. West Ham captain Gazuma and goalkeeper Ariola are also other high earners. Since joining from Lyon in 2022, Paquetá has developed into a key player for manager David Moyes, and given his reputation coming into West Ham, now being a Brazilian international wanted by Man City playing for Brazil at the World Cup, winning the Conference League with 150k a week, I think that's a pretty fair wage for me. And finally we have Wolves, whose highest earner is Pablo Sarabia. So Pablo Sarabia has yet to establish himself as a regular, but his impressive CV and the nature of his transfer from PSG in January means he is now comfortably the Wolves' highest earner. The club paid a transfer fee of just 4.4 million for Sarabia, meaning they were able to commit more money than normal to his salary, which would have been high anyway, by virtue of a resume that includes spells at Real Madrid and Sevilla. Nelson Semedo and Matthias Cunha are among the higher earners too, but Sarabia on just under 100k a week is by far the highest earner and overpaid. Again, I understand why, given his reputation, but he's done not much at Wolves to warrant this wage, and I don't think he's even one of their best players, even a regular starter in that Wolves team. This is a wage due to name, not